This drone could have and should have been so much better. It's a disappointment. Here are 5 things I hate about the DJI Neo. I'd like to start by saying I'm sorry, I've made a mistake. I got caught up in the hype of the release of the DJI Neo. I was going about how brilliant it is, how it was going to replace my DJI Mini 4 Pro, and I was wrong. Very wrong. Now that I've been flying this bad boy nearly every single day for over a week, I feel like I can safely comment on its shortcomings. And oh boy, there's a lot of them. Here are 5 things I hate about the DJI Neo. Number 1. It's so slow, like really slow. I did not expect that. For such a tiny lightweight drone, you think it'd be fast and nimble, but it's not, it's sluggish. It's honestly painful at times how slow it is. And what's more, when you find it into sport mode, it's like going from jogging to jogging, basically. I put it up against my DJI Mini 4 Pro and it annihilated it. It was so much quicker. It was like a Lada versus a Lamborghini. Number 2. The video quality is shocking, and I think DJI should be embarrassed. It's only got half-inch sensor. You know they could have put a bigger sensor in there, so why didn't they? I've already said it, and I know people will say this. You can't complain for the price. But I am going to complain, because I expect more from DJI. I put the Neo up against the Hover Air X1, and if I'm honest, I think the X1 has crisper footage. I know it's more expensive, but that's rocking 2.7K, whereas the Neo supposedly is 4K. And don't get me started on the quality of photographs. I honestly wouldn't even bother taking any. Number 3. Now this next one could be user error. I'm pretty sure it's not though. And it might just be a one-off case. But my DJI Neo anyway has a mind of its own and it does what it wants. And that does not instill confidence in the user. I stupidly took my Neo out with me kayaking. Put it into follow mode, set it off, and then that's when all hell broke loose. Once I got my shot, I was like, alright, let's bring the drone back. So I held my hand out, and guess what? It ignored me. It was like a bratty teenage child. I waved at it, and still no, it just hovered there, looking at me in disgust. And the annoying thing is it was too high for me to reach, and every time I paddled closer to it, it moved backwards. Anyway, to cut a very long and frustrating story short, I ended up paddling to shore, jumping onto some rocks, the drone did follow me, and then I pounced on it before it could shoot off. It was a very unpleasant experience, and I didn't expect that from a DJI drone. Number 4. It is terrible in any kind of wind. Honestly, if you farted next to this, it would go haywire. Here is some footage I took at the beach of my stunning wife. And as you can see, the camera is struggling to stay stable. That's what you get for having a one-axis gimbal. What's that all about? And the drone itself was wobbling all over the joint like me after a few pints. And it's frustrating because it really wasn't that windy. And that footage is just unusable. And number 5. It's too cheap. I feel like ultimately DJI have gone backwards with this drone. I know they saw an opportunity after the release of the Hover Air X1, and there's a gap in the market for it. But it's disappointing because DJI have already showed us that they can create great drones. So why should it be any different with the Neo? It should have a 3-axis gimbal. The camera could be so much better. It could have a bigger sensor. They could just take the camera off the DJI Mini 4 Pro and plop that on. Maybe even some obstacle avoidance sensors. But by not doing all that, they've made it really cheap, and cheap isn't always a good thing. I would happily pay double the price if they added all the things I just mentioned, and I think most people would. And it would still be cheaper than the Hover Air X1, which is its direct competition. I know I've been ranting on about the Neo, and I feel a bit bad, because I have had fun with it, and I love DJI. And I know in the near future, DJI will bring out a drone, new and improved, with all the features that I asked for. But it's frustrating because they could have done it now, when they released the Neo. So I'm just going to have to sit here and twiddle my thumbs until they do actually release the DJI Neo 2. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Cheers.